swap that mic stand, did we, Rick? Frank Sultana, ladies and gentlemen.
Cheers.
Jimi Hocking.
And Fiona boys right here, Queen of the Blues.
Well, we've just to check, because we did our first show last night on this little run, and some people were all across the concept, and other people were just like, they had no idea. So we're kind of here to celebrate and tell some tall stories from the road and do a bit of playing on account of there is this competition in Memphis. And over all the years, there's only been 3 non-North Americans to win this thing, and us Aussies have achieved the incredible task of confusing the Yanks at their own game. So that's about the size of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there'll probably be a few tales about that, but in the meantime, given that we're supposedly blues players, let's start with blues. Ain't it hard to keep from rambling when you got rambling on your mind? Ain't it hard to keep from rambling? Hey, you got rambling. Blues ain't nothing but a woman. I swear the blues, it's just like some old man. Oh yes. Blues is just like a woman. Ain't nothing but some old man. You know you don't see what you got, only what you ain't never had. Just like the blues.
Yeah, boys.
Ah, yes. So now, in the tag team grudge match, that's, we're going to pass it around the circle now and do maybe a couple of solo tunes, a bit more jamming as we get along. A few tall tales of Memphis. We heard a few last night. Some of them I'm hoping to hear again. As well as some of you forgotten. So, we can't even see you. It's like they've got the lights so that we're like,
We can see all these beautiful candles.
we can see the candles and we can see like we're just like deer in the headlight. But I do know that we have this large section down the front here, which is neutral ground. I'm going to call that Switzerland down here. And apparently nobody can go in there. It's just neutral territory.
So, just to clarify, I was always impressed with the fact that years ago, before our man Frank Sultana won the IBC, the only people who won the International Blues Challenge in Memphis, Tennessee were Fiona Boys and myself. I won nearly 19 years ago. I won 21 years ago.
Yes.
And for the longest time, that meant that, and our buddy Jeff Atchison also won an award there originally for the
Albert King
Award
for
guitar prowess.
Yeah, guitar prowess.
And that meant that the Melbourne contingent of the Melbourne contestants of the Blues Society were the most winning blues society in the world.
Yeah.
They were like... Okay. So just when you get there, I remember when I got the IBC, the International Blues Challenge in Memphis, there's about 2,000 people in a hallway, it seemed like, all competing in this thing. It's a big event. So to win it and not be from America was very perplexing for a lot of Americans.
They were completely confused. I mean, I don't know about you, but the year that I won, because they've never had an international winner before, and they've never had a woman. So, no, I was just as confused as them, but you know, they were completely ill-equipped.
You're still confused, right?
It didn't change much 20 years later, I'd say.
Yeah. And then Frank comes along and so the three outsiders, I don't think any other country who's entered, England, all over Europe they come from, has ever won a prize. Only us three outside of America. So it's quite a thing, right? And for the year after that, they call you the unsigned blues performer of the year in America. That's what they refer to you as. So it's a big deal. Now, when I went there in 2005, I made sure that I played this song, which I wrote in the late 1980s. And to set the stage for the 1980s, most musicians had frizzy hair, lycra pants, and often a codpiece on. It was the 80s. I chose to be in a rock and roll band called Jimi the Human and Spectre 7, which was more like denim and mullets at the time. And I wrote a couple of blues songs that we played in our encores, and really nobody was that into it that I can remember. Fiona had a band at the time called the Mojos, who were an all-girl blues band. Dutch Childers was playing, Kevin Boris was playing some. There was a few scattered appearances of blues musicians, but not very many. Not very many. There wasn't a scene, per se. So when I wrote this song, the record company that Jimi the Human was dealing with, who shall remain nameless, EMI, they looked at me with great disdain and said, "Oh no, but this retro idea of this blues thing that you're doing, that you're trying to do, no, this is," and I quote, "professional suicide." I took great offence to this, and I continue to play the song that I first presented to them to this very day out of spite. It's not the greatest song I ever wrote, but out of spite, I'm going to play it for you now. But I would also mention that the following year, after the head of EMI told me that it was professional suicide to play blues, the biggest record in the country was Johnny Diesel and the Injectors, which for all intents and purposes was a blues album. So I had a lot of swearing to offer EMI. I know that I'm right, you said I'm wrong. I kiss you goodnight, but you're already gone. With trouble, baby, my hands out to you. It's a sign of the times. You're wearing that face. You run out the cold, and I run round the place. I got trouble, baby. With my hands out for you. Ooh, you know that's true. It's written right here, right across my face. And I get so blue without you. So don't leave me floating out in space. 'Cause I want you to love me in the same way I love you. Ooh, you know that's true. It's written right here, right across my face. And I get so blue without you. So don't leave me floating out in space. I want you to love me in the same way that I love you.
Jimi Hocking.
That's your Mardi Gras beads, because when you put your party shirt on and your Mardi Gras beads, that's how it works in Mississippi and Louisiana.
Yeah.
I love that song, Jimmy.
Thank you.
And it's funny because you were saying that you've been doing mostly these days guitaring rather than singing. And
Yeah, I
you-
don't do a lot of singing so much these
But
days.
the singing is gorgeous,
Well,
mate.
thank you. I know you try. I'm not. I always thought myself as a guitar player who happens to sing. So if someone else wants to sing, I'm happy for that to happen.
Well, here's one.
Here we go.
Here's one we prepared earlier. How about a bit of French?
Can we thank Ricky too? He's on the sound and he's helping out and he's doing a great job. We're just switching out a mic, said a little bit of technical stuff.
Fiona obviously broke the last mic.
Yeah, she broke it. Everywhere we go.
Well, it was just having a bit of a droop thing, which, you know, I think that effect. So, a little blue pills.
So yeah, it was 20 years between Fiona winning in 2003 and myself going over there last year. And we've been talking a bit about this. We've been on the road together for the last couple of days. And we all went over just to have a bit of fun and experience it and soak it up and meet people and just really enjoy the fact that we're in Memphis, Tennessee, the home of the music that we grew up loving, you know. And so the idea of winning this thing was the furthest thing from my mind. Even if I hadn't, the experience would have been amazing. So it really is an incredible event. It's like 4 or 5 days. It's 150, 160 people from around the world. And and this was one of the songs that I played during the event. It's called Read the News. Rick, is the stop box in the mix there, bro? Somebody please clean out the house. I said read the news, Lord, read the news. Oh, somebody please clean out the house. Cause this house in trouble, honey. Pretty soon ain't gonna be nobody around. Ain't this a sad old story about the times that you put me down? Ain't this a sad old story about the times that you put me down? Well, you should know by now, brother, I don't take kindly to no pushing around. I said the river she is rising. That means that trouble won't be so far behind.
Fixed it. He fixed the stop box.
Well, the river she is rising.
Stop
That
box.
means that trouble won't be so far behind.
He fixed it.
Oh, and if we're not careful, my brother,
quite this early, but that's great.
Took a bird
Deal, I like that.
I can smell it, man.
Ah, now in 2 minds. Is it too early? But maybe. I'm feeling the need to do just a little bit of something finger picky. And it's a toss-up, because you see, back when I actually played, when I competed in the IBC, actually the scariest thing was not so much competing in Memphis, but it was scarier doing the playoffs in Melbourne, to be honest.
Yeah, I thought that was scarier too.
Yeah.
I thought that's the one I kind of thought, well, you didn't get through that, that's kind of a bit disappointing. But once you got to Memphis, it was like whatever happened was going to be
Whatever
fine,
happens
right?
is
totally
cherry on top.
feel the same. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess it's because you're playing for people that you've grown up amongst and come up and that sort of stuff. Well, when I got to Memphis, it was my first trip to America, and I just couldn't believe my luck. Everything was brand new, shiny, and weird. To be honest, America's still a little bit weird, but that's all right.
It is.
They're in a particular weird space at the minute, I think. So one of the theories I have is that we should try and do something from our original sets, but for these guys, well, it's tricky for you too. Frank, it's really fresh because he's using all this stuff. But
Yeah.
I've got to delve, back 23 years or 20 whatever. But anyway, I do remember this was in the winning set, and it's a song which is my tribute to the great blues guitarist, Memphis Minnie. She was the gal guitar player of her generation, and even though these days I've strayed a bit off the fingerpicking path, I'm going to try and delve back into my tribal memory and tell you a little bit about Memphis Minnie. It's also the reason why I have an actual American vintage 1935 silver dollar set into my main touring guitar. And that was actually a present from the preacher after I won. That was a congratulations, because Memphis Minnie famously wore a silver dollar bracelet in a lot of her publicity photos. And he bought that for me as a congratulations gift when I won back in Memphis. And I carried it around in my guitar case forever. And then one day I went, you know what? I'm going to sit that in a bloody
It's a cold plug guitar. I think it's a cold plug guitar.
I want to tell about many people try and understand. Well, they said that little gal, she played guitar just like a man. Woo! Imagine that. She could play that thing. She loved dressing like a lady. All them fancy clothes, she wore a silver dollar bracelet. Every place she'd go, and one day she rolled back into town with a new car and a National Steel guitar. Folks around there seemed not like it. Well, the whole life was child. Any place that she could play, because she sure wanted to be out in the fields working every day. And I believe her life was hard, but she loved the blues. Man, that gal could play it like this. She had a temper, yeah, she could stand up for herself. Oh, mama, the gal was a hellcat. Now listen, time goes by, and in a place far, far away, a girl saw Minnie's picture, picked up a guitar and tried to play. Something's changed, always on the main say. The gal just wants to play. I wanna tell about Minnie people, try to understand how it was back in the 40s, back in Minnie's day. They said she played guitar like a man. Woo! Imagine that. She could play that thing. Yeah, Lord, Lord, Lord. She could all coming back, the finger picking. Yeah, so that was my tribute to Memphis Mini. It was in my winning set all those years ago. And I was really conscious as I was playing it, like, wow, I'm sitting in the Pig on Beale. I know you played at the Pig on Beale, which is a little bar on Beale Street. Really historic place for the blues. And a place where Memphis Mini would have played back in the day.
Yeah.
So it's just
It's actually incredibly awesome to be in a place where we've heard stories and folklore of all our young lives, and there we are. It's like being in a movie all of a sudden that you're the star of, just for a moment.
Yeah.
You know. Now, as I'm watching my friend Fiona Boys play, it's worth knowing that I've known Fiona since at least the mid 1980s, when we both used to play at a folk club called Fat Bob's Cafe.
That's where I got started. You know, that was my first public gig.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, right.
It was. I heard. Yeah, I heard on public radio, 3CR, Ricky Vengeance, that there was an open mic, and at that stage I'd never played in public. I actually didn't own a car or a guitar. I borrowed a guitar and a car. I drove to Fat Bob's by myself and carried the guitar and going, I have to carry it in because it might get stolen and it's not mine. And they said, you've come to play, it was an open mic. And I said, yeah, I guess, and I was so nervous, I thought I was going to die. Anyway, I played, and at the end they said, you know, while I was having my cinnamon toast and hot chocolate with marshmallows in it, as you did, yeah, they said, oh, you've won tonight. And apparently, unbeknownst to me, the whole open mic thing, for 10 weeks they were going to have a competition, and for 10 weeks they were choosing their favourite person from each night. And so come back in 2 weeks for a playoff, they put 10 people across a stage, you got one song each, and the prize was a Maiden acoustic guitar. And I had to borrow a guitar, I didn't have one. That's how I got my first guitar. So it's Maiden's fault, because it was supposed to be a talent encouragement prize. And I say to them, you know, yeah, I have, absolutely.
Yes, you got it.
I absolutely still have it. And over the years, they've made me other custom guitars, and I'm playing a custom master sound. And I said to them, you know, that was a talent encouragement prize, and so essentially, it's your fault. Because you encouraged me. See what happened next.
And this is once again in the age when everybody had lycra and teased hair with product. But anyway, when I first saw Fiona, she walked in with I believe you had a rope around your jeans as a belt.
I did, I was such a hippie.
They were the days. And bare feet, I think. Well, am I mistaken?
No, I went through a real Sandy Shore stage. I didn't wear any shoes for a long time, and then I moved up to happy shoes. You know, those Chinese slippers.
Yeah.
Who could forget? Who could forget?
So meanwhile, I was riding my skateboard down to Fat Bob with my guitar in a little bag over my shoulder to play occasional gigs there. And prior to Fat Bob's Cafe, which is essentially a folk club, I wanted to be like Frank Zappa, and I was riding I was writing these highly complicated electric kind of rock jazz things that were completely inaccessible, but loving every minute of it. Yeah. And then I went down to Fat Bob's Cafe, and I also played the open mic night, hosted by a legendary man, sadly passed away now, called Ricky Vengeance. Who remembers Ricky Vengeance?
Yeah.
From the old folk show on Triple R as well. And we remained great friends, I know we all did. And strangely enough, I'm playing Ricky's old guitar right now after he passed. This was Ricky's guitar. And so I actually only knew a couple of songs and played my couple of songs. I did not win the open mic night. And I walked outside feeling a little dejected, but Ricky Vengeance ran outside after me, and he said, and he had this really odd, gruff voice. He said, "Hey, what's your name?" I said, Jimi Hocking. He said, "Yeah, that's great." He said, "How many songs do you know?" I said, "Oh, I don't know, 8. He said, "Well, you better double it by next week. I've got a gig for you." And that's how I started playing acoustic shows at Ricky Vengeance's behest. And so I played for many years at Fat Bob's, and then, you know, saved myself from going broke in between Frank Zappa explorations before I discovered the blues in earnest, or joined a band that made any money, which is only about 4 years ago. So anyway, but I'm going to play a blues song. And it's worth knowing that Fiona has also had a bad reputation in the blues for smiling too much, which is not very bluesy. I have a bad reputation for being too happy a lot of the time, but thankfully, by the end of the 80s, I've gone through a couple of breakups and managed to write a couple of blues songs. So this song takes place in East St Kilda, probably the home of the blues in Melbourne. where I had a very attractive girlfriend. Don't make me feel weird about saying that. It wasn't just me that thought that, everybody thought that. And I was just some little weirdo with a skateboard and a guitar and a mullet. And she was in fact this very attractive young lady. And in the days before bullying, and the workmen would yell at us, before bullying it was just called free advice. And they'd yell, "Hey mate! Mate! You're punching above your weight, mate!" For me it was demoralising and depressing, for her not so much. So this song was born of that relationship, for better or for worse, in the key of E. It's no good loving you, you only break my heart. You treat me like a dog, I'll never be that fool again. Never be that fool again. Yeah, I wanna have it one more time. Tell me where, tell me where. See the sun come up, see the sun go down. Never told me why, never treat me like a friend. Never treat me like a friend. But I wanna have it one more time, so tell me where, nah. Give us some here.
this visceral effect on Frank Sultana. He got the shoulder groove going. Did you notice?
He suddenly became a very sexy man.
Oh, you got that big happening.
Carry me away then. Mate. All right.
Yeah, looks like you've got something else going on. Sounds like G for me.
It is.
Let's go around. See if they can tell us. This one.
So this is a song that I started the finals set at the Orpheum Theatre. To give you a bit of context, the Orpheum Theatre is this beautiful 1930s sort of Art Deco theatre in Memphis, and it holds about 3,000 people, I suppose. And the final is on the Saturday, and I assumed that it'd be at some reasonable hour. It started like 6 o'clock in the evening or something. And so that morning I got up and I thought, great, I'll have a really nice relaxing morning. I'll go down and get a coffee and I'll run through the set and I'll get myself all prepped. And then I got an email from the Memphis Blues Foundation saying, we'll see you at see you at 10. And I assumed that was for like a dress rehearsal, show us around the place. And I emailed back and said, should I bring my gear? And he replied, well, of course you should, because the competition starts at midday. And I didn't realise that. And it was like 10 o'clock. So I quickly jumped in the shower, grabbed my stuff. My entire day's plan was completely shot. And it was a bit frazzled. And I sort of walked down at a fast pace down to the Orpheum Theatre. And when we got there, they drew straws, and of course I drew second last. So it started at 12, and I wasn't on until about 5:30. So I thought, what am I going to do to get through this day? And backstage was a bit weird. There was a couple of people. The Canadian guy was a bit heavy. He was walking around playing his guitar, being a bit of a bully, when it was being a bully, not just advice. Yeah.
Is he the guy that came in like second or third?
Yeah, third.
Was he really cut?
Yeah, he was. He didn't speak to me at all. But he was a real bully. He was walking around, kind of strumming around the green room, and he told, there was a lovely couple from Arizona who came second, so he was very cut about that. And when she came out with her dress that she was going to wear, he said, oh, you're wearing that. He was really not a nice guy.
He's trying to psych everybody
Right?
out.
Trying to psych everybody out. Anyhow, and I thought, well, I've got to work out a way to get through this. I'm not going to hang backstage with this clown. So I devised a little plan for my day. I'd walk out the side of stage, up the street, in through the front door, get myself a scotch and soda, and I'd sit in the back of the theatre and watch 2 songs from each contestant. And it's band, solo for the afternoon. And I did that. I'd walk back around, in backstage, and then the next act would start. I'd walk back up the street, in through the front door, get another scotch and soda, and that's what I did for the whole day. So by the time it was my turn to play, I was in a good place. And this is the song that I started the set with. It's called Dark of the Night. People, won't you pray for me? I've been lost on the sea of Galilee. My ship ran aground and my soul is asleep. I swim with the devil in the deep blue sea. I got sinners on the left, angels on the right, but my soul wants to hide in the pale moonlight, in the dark of the night.
Greet me in the morning, hide me the
solo. Jimi Hocking on the mandolin, folks. With tales of the heartbeat of grown men cry. You're the biggest and the toughest man that has ever been alive. That woman's love was fickle, it done changes with time. And a man rely on nothing except there's gonna be a time, Lord, in the dark of the night. 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 All right, now bring it on home. Fiona boys on the cigar.
I love that one, Frank.
Thank you, babe.
All right, we're having a little bit of four-string cigar box there as playing my whiskey, my little whiskey bottle, a little technique I picked up in not Memphis, but in Mississippi, from the inimitable Watermelon Slim.
Ah, I love Watermelon Slim.
Yeah, I know.
I watched Watermelon Slim play at Red's Juke Joint. Has anyone been to Clarksdale, Mississippi? No, you should. You should go to Clarksdale, Mississippi. And there's a juke joint there. It's one of the last real, genuine juke joints left in Mississippi. And sadly, Red passed away earlier in the year, but I was very lucky to play a couple of shows there. And I saw Watermelon Slim play there as well. And he'd done a set, he had an amazing set. And then at the very end, I went up and said g'day to him, shook his hand, and as soon as he heard my voice, he was like, "You're Australian?" I said, "Yes, I am. I've got to do another song." He's got a song about Australia.
He's got a song about Australia.
He does. And I bought a CD from him, he signed it, he drew it, and he proved to me, he said that he's got a couple of degrees, like in geography and a couple of other things. And now maybe tall tales, who knows, who cares. But he proved it to me by drawing a map of Australia on the back of his CD and signing it.
That
and
proves I've got a degree in geography.
That proves, in Mississippi, that means you've got a degree in geography.
It's so Watermelon Slim.
It is. And so he was like, "No, I've got to play this song, I've got to play this song." And he played this song about Australia.
About Australia.
That blew my mind, it was so cool.
I'm now, given that you've just introduced Slim into the narrative, I'm torn between playing Party at Reds or Old and Stiff.
You didn't do Party Reds last time, did you?
No, I know. But there's still another set. Look,
Yeah.
you know what? I've been doing the jolly barrel house stuff because let's not forget, back in the day, all the stars of the classic era were women singing generally fairly rude material. Good on them. Go girl is what I say. And that tradition's been somewhat lost. So I do, as a songwriter, I reckon you can write some stuff you wouldn't get away with it in other genres. So this is a song I wrote for my husband, the preacher. Yes, that's right. For those of you who don't know, I am married to an Anglican priest and I play the devil's music.
Match made in heaven.
Thus we keep the world in perfect balance. Lots of stories about that, lots of stories about... Also, yeah, I'll get to that next, with Memphis. But anyway, he woke up one morning all kind of going, oh, I just feel stiff, and he's rubbing his back and he's moaning and whinging. Anyway, I just went, that line is fantastic, because there ain't nothing wrong with a man who's old and stiff. Oh, and I'll keep going to me now. Yes. About that young man, he ain't much of a much, shaking his thing at old Mrs. Such and Such. And Grandpa might be creaky, but here's my tip: ain't nothing wrong with a man who is old and stiff. Well now, age of deceit will beat youth every time. For a man to get ahead, sometimes it take a little time. And maybe slow getting round, the mule still got a kick. What's more, women, he knows how to use his stick. Old and stiff. Good God Almighty, I said old and stiff. Ain't nothing wrong with a man who's old and stiff. Now, if he aches and pains will disappear, it won't cost you a dime. He made one little rubbing, but it's probably worth your time. I said, hey. I said, now here's my tip. Ain't nothing wrong with a man who's old and stiff.
Maybe I'll do one more. We talked about our adventures in Memphis. Quite a bit, I know. But I picked up the mandolin as an instrument about, I don't know, what time is it now?
It's a recent innovation is what you're trying to tell us, I think.
Probably about 1999, when Prince had told us we were all going to party like it was... And I didn't know anything about the mandolin. I didn't know it wasn't like a guitar. I hoped it was. It was not. And it's tuned more like, it's actually tuned like a violin. So it's a violin, and the expression from the 1920s to be a fiddler or a picker came from either playing the violin or the mandolin, essentially the same instrument but played a different way. And when I took at a mandolin, Jeff Lane, I think, loaned me his for a day or two, and they were hard to get. But when I got to Memphis, I got to meet a guy called Rich Del Grosso, who is really like the chairman of the board of blues mandolin. So it was a great treat for me to meet Rich, who Fiona knows very well. He's played in Fiona's band, actually, right?
We recorded an album together, yeah, Live from Bluesville, which was recorded in Bill Wax's Bluesville station in Washington DC.
Yep.
It was so I was playing acoustic guitar, Rich Del Grosso on blues mandolin, and Mookie Brill is a bass player and also plays a harmonica. He's played with all the old dudes, and he lives in Charlotte, North Carolina, and he's of Italian descent, and all I can say is touring with Mookie is a bit like being in a side plot of The Sopranos. You know, he carries a gun. He came out to Australia. He felt very nervous a lot of the time because he couldn't bring his gun with him. Yeah, so it's fascinating. And it's like, so Mookie's like, yeah, fine. And Rich is like a huge bear of a man playing this little. He looked like a bear on a unicycle, you know, because he plays this tiny little mandolin. He's also of Italian descent. And so it's like, he's like so sweet, and Mookie's sort of so feisty. And I was like in the middle, kind of
Like
mediating. So it's like, yeah, like tepid water, that's right, between the fire and the ice.
Yeah. But I was going to say that when I picked up the mandolin, it was such a great treat to meet Rich. But I had a good internet connection by about 2002, where I was living down the back beach of Rye, and I decided to Google if there were any other blues mandolin players, as I discovered this blues mandolin thing. And I thought, surely there's other people out there. And there was a site about blues mandolin called Exploring Blues Mandolin by Rich Del Grosso.
Yeah.
And on it was a list of known blues mandolin players, and there was Rich Del Grosso, Jerry Hunt in Chicago, Bert Divert, former American now living in Sweden, and me. I was already on the list of 4 people in the world. I was just checking.
It's a very select.
I discovered that bluegrass was too hard to play. That's like RSI waiting to happen. Waiting to happen.
I tell you what, that stuff is not going to fly at Red's Juke Joint.
No.
It's not going to fly.
So here's a song I'm going to play for you now, which I wrote, which has more Angus Young in it than bluegrass. It's in the key of A. And if you can hear that Angus Young lick, some high voltage, right? before you say please. You're gonna have a good life before you buy the farm. Yeah, my little black cat, you're a little black lucky charm. What do you say?
Jimi Hocking. Alright, we're going to do one more and have a little break, and then come back and do it again. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
We need to freshen up our beverages. We need to freshen up our brevies.
Our brevies. Oh, yes. I wrote this song at the very beginning. You might remember a little while ago, the world lost its mind for a little while, and they told us that we had to stay inside.
Oh, that was,
you remember that?
That was the plague.
It was the plague.
Yeah.
Anyhow, once I got over, it took me a few weeks. I had all these shows planned and booked, and like we all did probably. And I got over the depression. The first couple of weeks, polished off a couple of bottles of JD, and then I thought, well, I can't keep doing this through lockdown, so I thought I'll start writing some songs. And so this was the first song I wrote. It's called Hell or High Water. It's a blues in E for those playing at home. Foot on the ground. We're going to have a little break, come back. Cheers.
And don't forget that Frank told me to say this because he's not a good salesperson.
Oh shit, son, but I forgot again.
But there again, if you happen to like the music and you want to take a little piece of us home with you,
Yes.
but you want something cleaner and more reliable than an actual musician, then we have got CDs of that.
We do have CDs for sale, so yes. And every time you play it, it's exactly the same way, not different each time like the way we play it, right? It's reliable, right?
It's reliable.
Yes, exactly. Right. Thank you, folks.